Salutations, my name is Phil, aka JCServant. Welcome to another exciting stream and stuff like that. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Hope everyone's having a good time. So, I wanted to start off just addressing a message that came in, a very well-meaning message, I'm sure, and I'm just going to speak off the cuff, from the heart, not reading a script or anything like that, and I'm playing the game at the same time, which means we're a little sidetracked, but that's okay. Whatever have you. So, got a message from somebody that was like, hey, basically, they don't understand how you can be someone that says God bless you, have a nickname like JCServant, and uses swear language. And, this is, I'll be honest, I've read the Bible quite a bit. I've done my own bit of study. I'll never say I'm a super expert by any stretch of the imagination. I haven't read it every single day of my life or anything along those lines or anywhere close. But I've read it a few times through, and I question everything. So nowadays, the young kids, they'll question gender, they'll question all the things in the world. Back in my day, we settle for just questioning certain things, like what exactly is sinful and isn't sinful, and how much of it is cultural. We've seen cultures shift and turn and change the definition of what is sinful or not, right? We have churches that upheld slavery back in the day, and now we condemn it. We have churches that upheld polygamy back in the day, and now we condemn it. If I think long enough, I'm sure I can come up with the opposite examples. Things that used to be condemned, like women wearing pants, and now that's fine. So it just kind of depends, right? Cultural stuff tends to kind of have an impact on the way that church looks at things, but God is unchanging and stuff. So when you take a look at the subject of swearing, what exactly is the biblical definition of swearing, and who came up with the list of swear words? Words that automatically mean that you're swearing, no matter the context they're used in. And so, I think that's where we get a lot of wires crossed in understanding exactly, what those biblical passages mean when it comes to that kind of language and stuff like that. And I think like when Jesus said, you don't want to swear at a brother, essentially, when you call a brother an idiot in anger, even though if it's not a swear word, you're essentially, swearing at them. You're wishing harm upon them, divine harm upon them, because you're so angry with them. Like go to, hell type of thing. That's where the swearing comes in. So that's the kind of swearing that I'm very much opposed to. Whether you're using swear language or not is kind of irrelevant to me. It's all about the intention of the words behind it. So, and because of that, I don't think you can really swear against a solid object. Like if you slam your fingers in the door, no matter what you say, I don't really see that as being an issue where you're actually swearing at the door, because it's just an object. It has no feelings. We're to be very careful what we say to God's children. What we say to objects, whole different story, or whatever have you. It's really funny. You got I live here in the Utah. We have a lot of Mormons, and because they're so worried about public appearance and stuff, they'll use in a way they'll use swear language, or profanity, I guess is probably a better word for it, but they'll just change it. Instead of the F word, they'll say fudge or something like that. It's really pretty funny. It's like Mormon swearing. It's really cute. So yeah, that is kind of my hot take. That's the short version of it. Yeah, ethics change quite a bit over the years. God's ways don't change. We're to be very careful about how we address our fellow man and treat them with respect, and don't speak out of anger, towards them in a way that is seeking to harm them. It is what we have to be very careful about. So that's what I focus on. When it comes to things like this Reaper over here, he has no feelings, he's imaginary. I can tell him to take a flying, I can tell him to fudge off, if you know what I mean, and whatnot. So there is all of that, and whatnot. So that's why my language is the way it is, and whatever have you. But I'm happy to talk about it further with anybody who wants to talk about it further at any point in time. I'm always happy to have these conversations. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Mama Dara told me there would be days like this. There'll be days like this, my mama said. Really hard to get these guys held. Ooh, the knockback saved me there. Yeah, I'll stay there and die of smoke and flames. See, that right there could be a curse, right? If you tell somebody, you should die by smoke and flames, and you mean it, that's not good. It's not Christian. It's not. Didn't use a swear word. Didn't use profanity. It's probably a better word of saying it. I hear a beepy here somewhere. I never seen anybody hide a whole entire desk so easily. I'm just gonna stick it behind all these crates. That's where we put the desk at. Wow, I've hit this guy with like no less than 3 controls, and he's just kind of gone right past all of them. Oh, good grief. There we go. Wow, these guys are so mez resistant. This is not a good story arc for a controller or a dominator. Let me put this in the notes. You can die now. Oh, come on. Seriously? Just die. Oh, for the love of all that is holy, my entire life. Ethically indulge in anger, but I think most people can separate gaming from real life moments. Yeah, Lauren, what you get is, you know, obviously I'm Christian. It's in my nickname, JCServant. You know, when you get into this biblical idea of like the Bible has some passages about not swearing, what exactly does swearing mean? You know, and exactly like that. It's really interesting because I thought one website kind of really went into this really well that I was reading. If I could find it again, I don't know where I stuck it. Here it is. And it kind of went through like the definitions of what is cursing, swearing, insult, obscenity, and indecency, profanity, and vulgarity. And which of those is actually even addressed in the Bible, and which of those, you know, is changing with the times and things like that. When you start thinking through all of that, again, God's ways don't change, right? And so God's principles are not something that changes with the sands of time or whatever have you. So understanding, you know, exactly, you know, what the principles are, I think, and not getting it caught up in the cultural mix of like, well, today we think this is bad, you know. One day churches were teaching, you know, that some churches were teaching that slavery was okay. Now we condemn it as one of the greatest evils that are out there. Back in the Old Testament, they clearly didn't have much issue with polygamy, right? And stuff like that. Now we say that isn't God's way. And you know, gosh, if you were trying to practice polygamy in a modern day church, they would kick you out. So, you know, there's back in the day, it was absolute sacrilege for a woman to wear pants, you know, and now we don't think it's a big deal. So just kind of understanding what exactly are some of the true biblical principles, and addressing those is, you know, from a matter of just overall ethics outside of the Bible. I very rarely offend people with my speech unless they're pearl clutching about, you know, maybe something that they think is a biblical interpretation. But as far as like truly striking at someone's core and insulting them, it'll happen when I talk about Jesus. You know, that's going to happen, and that's to be expected on the occasion. But it's not because I said some sort of vulgar, profane word to them and I was really trying to piss them off. In other words, you can tell by my language, I'm not trying to intentionally tick you off. I'm a pretty even keel, low keel guy when it comes to people. I have relatives, you know, I have fights in my relative circles just like anybody else does. And I have fights in there where they are very much trying to poke the bear, right? And get me angry and get me to, you know, say F you it never works on me. It just doesn't. I'm an accountant. I'm dead inside. You know, I of course am not happy about the fact that they feel the need to, you know, try to treat me that way, but I don't, you know, get angry and take it out on them in that way. especially in talking to parents. You're to show parents respect. So even if your parent is acting, unfortunately, I have it in my family. If you have a parent that is acting very rudely to you, you're not given a green light to act super rude to them in return. You can, of course, set boundaries, distance yourself. You can respectfully address them, sternly, in fact, but you can always do it with respect. You can always do it with respect. It'd be nice if Arcane Bolt didn't miss. I would appreciate that Arcane Bolt if you wouldn't miss. Yeah, we're doing pretty good on this controller, though. This is definitely a hard-hitting controller. Now, you'll notice that the Bible doesn't teach you to never insult somebody, because then you never preach about the gospel in our day and age. So clearly the criteria isn't simply insulting somebody. Oh, good grief. How many times is that going to miss today? It's like a 95% hit chance, and it's like way off. That is... Oh, yeah, and then there's always that thing up there, so... something's going to be up there. There always is. You still alive? You can die. More copy machines. Hey, John. So I will say there's a reason why I don't get to stick around in too many churches, because I question a lot of things when it comes to that sort of thing. So yes, I believe in the Bible. I absolutely do. I believe in following Jesus Christ, and I believe in the core gospel message 112%. But I definitely have gone through my own spiritual journey of studying the Bible pretty carefully. I believe the Bible is the Word of God and is our ultimate authority. And so I have studied that quite a bit to come up with, my very imperfect take on ethics. I don't think anybody has God's ethics perfectly down, and I don't think anyone lives up to God's standards anywhere close to perfectly, and I don't even think that anybody who come up with imperfect standards lives to their own imperfect standards evenly, so I think it's all important in these conversations, but Uh, but yeah, yeah. I definitely have some hot takes that go against traditional orthodoxy, and it's and one of them, by the way, is playing City of Heroes. Right? There's a lot of churches I would go to that would definitely not think that it's appropriate to have scantily clad fairy ladies on a monitor, and would say, "How can you call yourself Christian and yet you're showing this scantily clad lady, on your mind, or you're drawing them?" Because I used to draw, characters. Now, the funny thing was, I drew my characters pretty much in costumes from top to bottom, not showing any skin outside of the head, really. And that would still be something, because it's a skin tight outfit, that would be too much for some people. But even then, when I put a jacket on her, then it was, she looks too angry. Christians shouldn't be angry. And I'm like, number one, there's, God and Jesus have been angry. So anger in and of itself isn't a sin. You have to know why they're angry. And even then, I don't know if being angry is a sin. Doing things out of anger can sometimes be sinful, like, murdering somebody out of anger. But number two, whoever said she was sinless, right? Heroes have problems. They have sins, right? So it's just really remarkable, some of the church mentality and how far they take some of the stuff in the Bible and turn it into a whole nother code of ethics. I think that's a big problem, is you take what the Bible says and then you add a whole bunch of your own ethics on top of it in your attempt to interpret it, which in some cases is kind of fine, right? If let's say for yourself, you see the biblical passage about not living a drunken lifestyle, so you decide to take that a step further and not have any alcohol in your house, and you're doing that in order to please God, that's fine. That's probably credit to you in heaven. When you start teaching other people that they're not allowed to drink at all because they're getting too close to true sin and all this other jazz, and you start stretching passages to mean that you can't drink at all, I think that's a concern. And even arguably that could be in and of itself sinful, because you're kind of getting into Pharisee territory and making rules where rules don't exist. Shaboom. I dare say it, this is actually getting pretty fun with this controller. Where did you come from? I thought you were dead. Actually doing pretty decently, more or less, against the Vasilok now. So this is one of the important things about soloing, boys and girls, right? Soloing through the levels. If I had rushed through the levels, if I had sat on task forces or played with big groups, I would never understand the way to deal with a Vasilok that I have come to in soloing with this controller with no pets. Okay. To be fair, I didn't see him around the corner. After I just said I figured out a way to deal with him. It doesn't help if did he just literally kill me in 2 hits? I swear that was like 2 hits on him dead. Ay. That's okay. I've got 2 hickeys for this somewhere. It's really hard to come around that corner. It's a really, really tough corner. You cannot see what's right there, so it's a little tough. Yeah. So I think that person who sent me that message, I think he's well-intentioned, but this is, I think he's also looking at through the chinge, what I'd like to call like classic churchianity, which I don't think really always lines up with God's word and adds extra rules and stuff that in a way can be, you know, helpful, to keep you from maybe doing, and this is going to be really tough too, from doing bigger sins. But I don't know if they're going to come after me in here. I'm going to try to pull them back, but this is really tough. But in a lot of ways, it ends up creating extra rules that don't always make sense to people and can actually take away from the gospel message, I think. Two, one. I need another hold here. Thank you. Alright, we're doing pretty good. Now we're getting through it. I had to pull them out into the open. This is a really tight corner. Oh, and of course there's more in this little tiny room up here that you could very easily pass up. Can't see the guy around the door. I'm gonna get my butt kicked. I'm gonna go in there. I'm totally gonna get my butt kicked. Oh, no. Oh, fudge. Now, if I say fudge, right? Is that any worse or better than saying fuck? Like, who determined which word was, first of all, it's not even technically a swear. So swearing in the Bible had nothing to do with a particular word being used. What you're talking about is profanity, right? And whatever have you. But then you hear church people. It's really funny because I live here in the land of Mormonism, and they very much are like fudge, you know, and things like that. So it's pretty funny. Yeah. All right, so to deal with these guys here, so what we're doing is we're putting down fire cages first, which never works. And then you start hitting with your single target stuff. Unless things can come off a cooldown like another fire cages. Generally speaking, it takes, oh gosh, I targeted the wrong guy. It takes 2 controls to hold these guys down. So the first AoE hold is just to kind of chip away at their defenses. And then the second one is for actually getting a hold on them and being able to now hit them up with Arcane Bolt. It definitely adds more complication to your controller rotation. What's kind of interesting is that it still kills faster than a tanker. How dare you play such a fun game? Well, yeah, there's definitely churches that will teach you that. There's definitely... I had a church that I went to at one point that taught it was sinful to play Pokemon card game because it had ghost-type Pokemon in it. And that's somehow demonic and witchcrafty or something. So yeah, no, churches teach all kinds of pretty crazy things. And you have to know your own Bible to really be able to separate the wheat from the chaff of what they're trying to teach. And whatnot. And I'm not trying to paint a picture like all churches teach just really kind of silly things. There's some really good preaching that's going on. But you have to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff, because some of these guys are very, very misled, especially on the D&D craze. I mean, remember, that was a big thing back in the 80s. D&D is worshiping the devil. In fact, one of my favorite musical, artist had done a song, and in that song he was basically condemning Dungeons and Dragons as witchcraft as part of that song, because he was just following the national narrative that playing D&D was akin to worshiping Satan. And it's a sentiment that I hear from people even to this day. I've heard from the occasional well-meaning brother that he felt that there was Satanism going on in their in D&D games. I don't see it. I've played plenty of D&D myself. Granted, there's a whole whoa that really hurt. There is definitely some crazy stuff that goes on in some D&D games, but we are definitely not doing satanic rituals. So yeah. Oops. I did not mean to hit that. Yeah, these guys are literally taking like 1/2 of my life with a single hit, so... Wow, that was not close enough for transfusion, so that was a mistake. Just try to get some healing off of them. The kinetics, as a secondary, has some problems for a solo gamer, and this is stuff we don't really talk about, but the fact that transfusion is close range means that it's not very good for me. Some serious space. And this room, this whole thing is so labyrinthine. You really do have to play smart as a controller here, because you cannot hold things to save your life. You have to cast the same holding thing like 13 times on somebody to have an effect. And then when you think they're held, you need to hold them again, because otherwise they break free like that. Oh, hell, there he is. Boom. That's what I like to see. Yep, so Phil's on a little bit of a soapbox today. Sorry about that, guys. We can definitely focus more on talking to City of Heroes. Phil likes to go down biblical discussion rabbit holes whenever somebody opens one up to me. Where are you going, buddy? Yeah, I tell you what, on with these guys being so tough, I'm glad I only have this at ×1, because it really does turn every encounter into a very difficult discussion. Wait for it. Boom. Whew. Oof. Tough fights this morning. Tough fights. Tough fights. I've already been streaming for 36 minutes. Yeesh. This is some slow killing. Notice I didn't do the AoE hold here because I didn't want to accidentally hit these guys and get them involved. That was surgical control right there. Surgical, I say. Surgical. I am an Atlas, and I need to defeat Vazalok. I don't think there's a ton of Vazalok in Atlas. So we're probably going to head up. We'll head up to Perez here. You do enough of these story arcs, you're going to become really familiar with what's in the streets. Yeah, you'll find some here and there. I just don't think you'll find a lot around here. Du kan de dumma Vazalok. How are y'all doing this morning? John, what's new with you guys? Stumbling through life, relaxing, creating and doing anything fun and interesting in COH lately. Wow, where are the Vazalok? Clockwork, Hellion. Are they to the north? They're to the north. Hey, and Bakley, how are you doing today? How's it going? There's a Vazalok. One lonely Vasilok. Oh, it's a boss, no less. Now it's a dead boss. Playable DC City Heroes, a place to hear from my Supergirl character and my Green Lantern. Is ironic as it sounds, DC is awful with Kryptonian stuff. What do you mean by DC is awful with Kryptonian stuff? Oh, I forgot I have hot feet. Come on, turn on the hot feet. What do I have to do? Do I have to be on the ground for hot feet to work? Here's some hot feet. Just kind of lock them all down, and then hopefully the hot feet kills them all eventually, one day. There we go. DC doesn't even have invulnerability power set. The closest you can get is with the scaling ice, with selecting ice tanker. Wild, right? Huh. Yeah, I mean, yeah, ultimately, at the end of the day, my feeling from DC, and most of the other games, honestly, is that they're too low power. They're so worried about balance and stuff that you never truly feel powerful in those games. And whatever have you. Whereas City of Heroes really perfectly captures the zero to hero feeling. You start off at level 1, especially if you don't rush through the levels, right? A lot of people like to rush through. But if you just go through the levels and you start off at level 1, you know, just barely being able, like, you know, to hold one person at a time as a controller. And this is a controller right here. And then you work your way on up. And, you know, by the time you're level 20, you're holding down groups at a time. By the time you're 30, you got pets running around helping to tear things up with you. By the time you're level 50, you're like locking bosses and everything else down at the same time and just decimating things. It really captures that power fantasies really, really well. And sadly, you don't get that from a lot of these other games. You know, and that would include the whole Kryptonian idea of being pretty invulnerable and feeling super strong at the same time and stuff. Yeah, you know, absolutely. You can definitely build a character here with high resistances, and brutes are probably the best example, you know, of that, because I don't think tankers hit hard enough to feel like Superman. They've got his invulnerability down pat, but they just lack his super strength or offense. That's the thing about trying to create Superman. He's offense and, you know, defense, and he's melee and he's ranged, right? So I think, like with City of Heroes, I could probably use Brute to come up with that. Brutes hit pretty darn hard. They do have to get warmed up with the rage mechanic. Now, you can just reflavor that slightly in your head. Superman rarely uses his full strength at the beginning of a fight. He always tests his opponents out, and then he slowly escalates his strength as he attacks, right? Because he doesn't want to, like, totally kill somebody with one super blow. Brutes have incredible resistance caps, which give you the feeling of Superman, right? You don't want to go for defense necessarily. You do defense second. But defense means you'll get missed a lot, but then when you get hit, it hurts hard. Superman doesn't like that. Superman rarely dodges blows because he knows his resistance is so high. So you build for that resistance. You've got this strength and brute, and then later on you add some ranged attacks. You know, with with the epic prestige power pools or whatever have you. So that's what you would do, in my opinion. That's what I would do. Pretty sure there's another one behind the Mario pipe here. I know there was another one. I'm gonna go in there and get my butt kicked by something. Yeah, fighting in these close quarters with these guys is practically asking for an early death. Yeah, I wonder if I'm gonna try a little something on the next fight I get into. Oh, that's PB AoE, son of a gun. Now, is son of a gun swear language? Is it that much different than son of a bitch? You know, like, if you're just talking about a game that you're playing, you decide. I'm sure the biblical scholars are out on that. Who is our lovely heroine today? This is, you know, I keep wanting to call her Cinder Fuse, but it's Flicker Fuse. Because I have Cinder Flare, the Pyrotechnic Dominator. This is my control. This is one of many controllers. And we were talking a lot about her last night. We were talking about controllers overall and how to solo them without pets. Before you get pets, how do you solo them? And then what's very interesting here, and for those of you joining, yeah, intent is super important. Absolutely, Lord Chaos. I'll talk about that in a minute. But here's the thing I was telling people with controllers, or with soloing. One of the many reasons I don't like playing in large groups is you don't get to really know the game and learn its mechanics. So if you constantly think controllers are only group, a lot of people told me, Phil, controllers are never meant to be played solo. They probably weren't originally, but you should only play controllers in groups. The thing is, in dealing with a Vazalok, which this whole story arc's been about Vazalok, I would have been with a group and we would have just mowed everything down, because that's what groups do, right? And my controls work sometimes on them, but not very often. But I would have thought nothing of it because the group is covering for my weakness against the Vazalok, right? And that group covers those up. But because I've been soloing for over an hour now against Vazalok, with no pets to cover for my weaknesses, no group, no nothing, I have come up with a really good rotation for taking them down, right? And so, yeah, but Arcane Bolt only works, and the thing about Arcane Bolt is it only works if they're already held. So if I can't hold them, I can't damage them, and my character is squishy and very weak. So I have to get them held. And so I have learned the importance of basically doing double holds on these guys. So I put one hold down. Most of the time it doesn't work. And then we stick another hold on them. Now they're all held. And now I can miss my attack, so yippee-ki-yay. And we're going to keep throwing holds in there to make sure they stay held. Let me try this AoE one real quick. Did that do anything? It did disorient them, so I'll give them that. Oh, I have run out of endurance because hot feet. There we go. It says specifically to not say "son of a gun" is as evil as a nicotine pack. Well, here's the thing, Dia. Right? So if I sit there and use what's the word I'm looking for? All right. So I think it's vulgarity or whatever have you, right? So if I sit there and use words that aren't vulgar, all right? So, because the Bible doesn't talk about vulgarity. We're going to talk about vulgarity. So, bitch, bitch, right? That's considered vulgar in today's language by some people. Not a lot of people anymore. But because language changes and those words don't, whatever. If I sit there and say, you're a son of a... Okay, then obviously... I think most Christians, most good people will say that's probably a bad thing that you just did right there. Is it any different if I say, son of a gun, you're a sick son of a gun? It's kind of funny, but here's the thing. Jesus said if you said to your brother, you're an idiot, you're in danger of the fires of hell, right? Idiot isn't a vulgar word, right? It isn't considered vulgar, with us. So what's the principle there? Is it certain words, or is it the intention behind those words that we need to be concerned about? And I think that's exactly it. It's the intention behind those words. It's also the target of those words, I think. If I pick up a Coke can and I say, I wish you would go to hell, Pellegrino. Who cares? I don't think the Bible really addresses that. But obviously if I say that to a child, that's a problem. Yeah. So I thought this one article that I read kind of did a really good job of explaining what's the difference between swearing, insults, obscenity, indecency, profanity, and vulgarity. And profanity derives from the word profane, meaning just ordinary or worldly, as in the opposite of special or set aside, sacred or holy. This word properly refers to irreligious or irrelevant behavior or words that regard a deity or saint not in a holy but in an ordinary or worldly way. In other words, blasphemy. And its usage overlaps in that sense with taking vain oaths, in that a profane speaker is invoking the name of a deity or a saint either as a mere exclamation or a frivolous or malicious purpose. So, if you use God's name frivolously type of thing, that would be profane. It's the opposite of holiness. Type of deal. Yeah. But vulgarity is regards the use of slang or colloquial words that refer to basic bodily functions, not including sexual activities, urination, defecation, passing of digestive gases, or rude noises, in a crude, debasing, not socially acceptable manner, rather than with correct medical terminology, and then only as needed. It won't get you arrested, may not get you sent to hell either, but it surely won't get you an audience with the Queen or the Pope. I thought some of that was pretty interesting when I read that today. Text. Okay, no one likes text either. Just saying. Uh-oh. So one thing I've learned with the Vasalok, you want to hit him with the immobilize first and then hit him with the hold. That's the key. Soften him up with the immobilize and then hit him with the hold. Miss. Oh, we don't like to see misses. Did these guys die from my other attacks? I guess so. You're right. Absolutely right. Actually, that's good profanity right there. Using Jesus' name, like an exclamation. That always is no bueno. No bueno. So that's what I'm talking about. So the fact, it got brought up that, when I'm playing City of Heroes, I will occasionally use swear language or whatever have you. And is that demeaning to and whatever. And generally speaking, if you watch how I use it, because I'm pretty careful with what I say, at least I try to think I am. I'm pretty purposeful. Is it's at the game, you know. It's not at the developers. It's not at people. Damn Vasilok, you know, F this game, whatever, things like that. It's a game. It has no feelings. I told my wife that when we got married. I was like, I don't care, if you're using swear language against the door that you just slammed your fingers into. The cat has no feelings, the cat's just a cat. Things like that. But when you sit there and you look at me and say, I think you're an idiot, and you're looking at me in the face and saying that, and you mean it, then we have a bigger problem in our marriage. And you didn't even have to use swear language to cut to the quick like that. I have gotten underneath people's skins without ever using a single swear word. Now, getting people upset in and of itself isn't wrong. It depends on the intention of why you're trying to get upset and how you're trying to get them upset. Sometimes you need to see the truth on something, so you need to get their emotions riled a little bit. That's totally a thing. Being stuck in here with two of these guys is asking for me to get a quick and easy death here. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'll tell you what, John, you're right. Like, to me, saying, oh my God, as a real true exclamation is much, much worse than saying, F this game, like spelling that out, fuck this game, right? That's much worse. Absolutely, because you're using the word God's name as a common, ordinary language. Now, I will tell you, one of my favorite replacements for that comes from the very famous Shakespearean beast of X-Men. Oh, my stars and garters. That's the fun thing to say. That's what I think you should say instead. It's a fun replacement. I didn't say you can move. I didn't say you can move. Let's see here. I released just by telling my football players that they'll get cut off if they keep having up plays. See, nothing wrong with that in my opinion. My significant other says, why are you yelling at the game? Because I don't want to yell at you. Yeah. GM, how's your least played power combination to start a stalker, broadsword, sword over myself? How's your least... Oh, tune coming along. Okay, broadsword. Okay, you gotta let me know how that's going, Dad. My least played ones are coming along decently well, though I like the Corruptor a lot more than the Sentinel, which you don't hear from me very often. Oh, my Lanta. I love that one. It's time for McDonald's. Why do I crave it now that you're in a sewer? I don't know. That's concerning. Oh, no. Don't eat McDonald's. McDonald's is really bad. I definitely do not recommend McDonald's. Madonna's. I definitely don't recommend it. There's an old time saying for sure, my stars and garters. It was in a place that could, yeah. Yeah, Michael. Now, Arcane Bolt is a decent power. For, like, melee characters, it can be a nice little extra ranged option to get on your character. But it really, really shines, honestly, on a controller because of its special language against enemies that are held. And then combining that with controller's containment. So you're getting double the bonus, essentially, from the bonus kickback on that. And that's what makes it work so well. My acid. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I appreciate the gentleman who reached out. I think there's nothing but best intentions there. But I think it's going to probably be one of those things we don't necessarily come to an agreement on because churchianity, as I like to call it, is pretty entrenched in certain segments of our society. and whatnot. And churches do a lot of great and wonderful things, but they've also get a number of things wrong. They have historically gotten a number of things wrong, and they continue to get a number of things wrong. So it is the nature of the beast. I get things wrong. You get things wrong. There's nobody who doesn't get things wrong. I could be wrong on this. I could be very wrong on this. I may absolutely be wrong on this. Maybe rather religious, but you put it in context. Yeah. Yeah, so I think, we often say in Christianity, I don't have a religion, I have a relationship, right? Do you understand what that means? Have you heard that saying before? Well, I'm trying to beat up the Voskalock and not get beat up by them, hopefully. So it comes up a lot when you live in Utah, or if you land in if you're in an area with numerous Catholics but you're Christian, and the distinction is drawn because Catholicism and Mormonism have a lot of religiosity to them. They have a lot of liturgy. They have a lot of things that are hard-coded into their faith. Liturgy, rules, regulations, procedures, and all this stuff. Biblical Christianity, at least on paper, is a lot more fluid. It's not to say we don't have rules. We have 10 commandments, for example. Jesus has the golden rules. He has the top 2 commandments, things of that nature. But we don't have all the liturgy, the pompous, the Pope, and all this other jazz. Now, we are told that in order to be saved, we need to have a relationship with the living God, the living Son of God, right? We need to come and, and acknowledge him as our Savior and walk with him. So we don't you don't become a Christian by joining a church and signing up to all of its rules and regulations. You become a Christian by accepting Jesus Christ into your heart and entering into a personal relationship with him, right? So that's why we would say, there's this little thing that some Christians will say, which is we have a relationship and not a religion. Right? Does that make sense? Oh my gosh. Can we possibly hit with the arcane bolt? Did I ever get the one over here? I haven't even seen any barrels yet to destroy. That's the weird thing. Yeah. So, right. So, and I think, therefore, when you think about a lot of the true rules in the Bible, a lot of them are more about the relationship rather than a bunch of strict rules. It's about how you treat others and how your relationship is with others, not necessarily exactly what you say to those other people. If you and your wife talk, let's say, dirty to each other in the bedroom using certain words, I don't think anyone's going to say, okay, you two were sinning because you didn't use the proper words. Yes, honey, I want to fudge you tonight. I guess, maybe you have to consider that, but it's obviously how you use the words and what the meanings were behind them. It's about the state of your relationship with your spouse and how you're treating her or him. I am having no luck with these drug barrels. Let's try locking these guys down. But going back to this whole thing about like, and it's, you know, you don't want anger or malice in one way, but in another way it happens sometimes, and it can be holy anger, right? If someone, heaven forbid, was to, you know, harm your child, you should feel anger at that, right? You absolutely should feel sad when someone in your family dies. You should feel angry if somebody in your family is hurt, you know, in a way that was malicious, right? Yeah, there are times where it's okay and understandable and even holy to feel anger. God feels anger. So as I was saying, like, because I've been soloing this character without pets, I now have a pretty good rotation for how to deal with Vasilok, and I have a better idea of exactly how the holding mechanics and stuff work. So that's what I think you don't get with a group. You don't really get a really clear view of how all the mechanics work because you're constantly going with the lawnmowers. You never learn to slow down and appreciate and understand the exact mechanics. Yeah, I think that's what you get from soloing. You really learn to play your character well, particularly in mechanic heavy classes like a controller. The one thing it won't help you do is find those damn barrels. Now, there is, probably my luck, there's a barrel at the end of this pipeline. There is another reason I intentionally choose to use some questionable language at times. And that is because I don't want to appear necessarily religious to people, because I think people recognize that religiosity, you know, like what the Pharisees kind of put on, is fake, and so people are looking for genuine, loving people, but people who aren't fake at the same time. I think like Mormons are extremely polite. They'll never use a single, you know, swear language or whatever have you. But you can also feel that a lot of that is pretty, you know, fake at times as well. People are looking for an authentic experience, and they don't think you really find it necessarily by following a bunch of rules. Yeah, I got hit by a group behind me. I didn't see the group behind me there. Hey, Uncle. Am I too close to resurrect? That's the million-dollar question. Yes, I am. Wow, this is going to end poorly. Now, can you guys go back to where you're at before? Did they go back? And they just stand there. Well, screw you. One of the big differences and downsides, and this is why I put Blaster lower than Sentinel, of playing like a Sentinel or a Blaster or controller, is that if you get into trouble, like a group comes up behind you like that, you literally have no warn, like you're dead. You're just dead. You're just dead because you have so low hit points. You're just dead. I guess this is fine because it gives me an extra chance to go through the sewers from the beginning again to look for those darn barrels. Of course, we say darn instead of damn, but whatever. Yeah, they're always Mormons are always super, super nice. They're taught, super, super, super to be nice. But when push comes to shove, it's gonna be hardcore about joining, their religion and their church with their rules and their regulations and their orthodoxy. Whereas with a Christian, if you're talking to a Christian and you're like, what is the reason why you're like this? What is the message? They should be pointing you directly to Christ. Period. They should be pointing you to Christ. I'm looking for these darn barrels. Normally the barrels are not usually a problem to find, so I'm not... Oh great, I hit a piece of ground and bumped up into the air. So I'm a little confused as to why I'm having trouble finding them. Well, if I knew your age for your handle, hey, you don't come out as preachy or holier than thou or anything, you just seem like a good person. No, definitely am not a good person. That is 100% and 12% for a fact. The Bible says, no, there are none that are good, no, not one. And I am definitely no exception to that particular rule. Yeah, no one's really truly a good person. It's one of those, what do they call them? Not truisms, maybe. But it's kind of one of those things that's thrown around like, well, at least he's a good person. I'm like, oh no, that's not a good thing to say because no one's good. Let me look through these tunnels here and see if I see any barrels lying in the middle of the tunnel. Nope, no barrel there. Did I search the end of this tube here? Yeah, I'm not seeing any barrels there either. Wow, these sewers are so hard to fly around. Well, there's a barrel right there, Phil. And a whole bunch of Ocelot waiting to attack me. Decent person, good, so Jack says, but I suppose not in a biblical sense. Well, it's sort of, kind of, obviously it is subjective, right? And in a way you can definitely say it's relative, right? So I get it. But, and I, I understand that, in a way people kind of mean, well, you're not so bad compared to my idea of a bad person, or to Hitler, or to a prison, a criminal murderer and stuff like that, I suppose. But I find as a person who believes in the Bible to keep, that we should be consistent and talk about, when we talk about what is good, we should compare it with God's standard. And by God's standard, none of us are good. And that's an important thing, because that's really hard for Americans to understand. So if you go up to the average American in the street and say, do you think you're a good person? The American will say yes. Most Americans will say yes. But it's, it's very interesting. It's like, really? So have you ever lied before? Well, yeah. Any time in your life, have you ever lied before? Yeah. What do we call somebody who lies? That would be a liar, right? Well, okay. Have you ever stolen before, no matter its value? Most people will say yes, they've stolen at least something. Okay, what do we call somebody who steals? A thief, right? Well, have you ever committed adultery? What? No, never. Really? Because the Bible says if you even look at a woman, with lust, which, means to covet. Actually, it's not just looking at them with lust, it means coveting, but whatever. You've committed adultery in your heart. Ooh, well, that's different. So you know, have you ever been an easier one usually to talk about is, have you ever been angry at somebody? Have you murdered somebody? Well, no. Well, Jesus said if you've called your brother an idiot, you've murdered him in your heart. Oh, so by your own admission, you're a lying, thieving murderer, right? So no, there's none that's good. No, not one. That's right, the Ray Comfort method, right? It's a very simple, it's also called the Romans Road method, right? I learned it as the Romans Road method before I heard Ray Comfort. The 10 Commandments are supposed to be used as a mirror to help show you. You don't know you have dirt on your face unless you look in a mirror, right? So that's what the 10 Commandments helps you to do. Yeah. The purpose, you know, the purpose of the 10 Commandments and the rules and stuff is to just help you understand just how fallen from God's ways you are. You don't know you need a Savior and that you need to, you know, you need the blood of the Lamb to cleanse you of your sins unless you truly understand you're a bad person, unless you truly understand how sinful you are. It isn't just a whoopsie daisy. You've made a mistake or two in your life. No, you have deliberately sinned. You have deliberately fallen short of the glory of God. His ways are much higher than your ways. And you should tremble in fear, you know, for the consequences of what you've done. So, yeah, absolutely. But now I probably am getting too preachy. So we should talk more about other things, I suppose. And look for glowing barrels, because they're here somewhere. But yeah, it's always an interesting subject. I do enjoy talking about it, but I try not to go down the road too much here on the channel. I know you guys probably have other things you'd rather talk about, like superheroes and stuff. I'm sure y'all have heard it before. And I need to keep remembering that the way further into the dungeon is to the north. I keep thinking it's to the south. Could probably use more coffee. Right. And I'm often like, and if anybody ever wants to talk about these subjects, oh, there's one right there. If anybody wants to talk about these subjects, I'm always down to talk about these things on voice. I'm in voice quite a bit. So even if I'm not playing the game, I like talking about things like this, but. All right. You have to talk about something when you're spending 2 hours killing Basilok. It's called content, right? Isn't that what the YouTubers called content? Killing the barrel's the hardest part. So for Pathfinder, is it trying to... I think I'm down to the last enemy way up there. That's pretty funny. For Pathfinder, I play online. I'm a professional dungeon master. I do my games through a website called Start Playing. And there you can find paid DMs, and you can hook up with them and join them in their various games. So we play online using a program called Foundry, and I run that twice a week with 2 different groups. I keep hearing your Arcane Bolt. I think there's a delay on my fight because I can cast one a few seconds before. Oh no, it's Arcane Bolts everywhere. I'm going to switch this character soon. So... Now I might switch it to another controller. You never know, but yeah, probably not. So yeah, it's on the internet. Very tactical game. Second edition is a very tactical game. There's 35 reward merits. Like I said, those missions are a bit of a drag, but you get 35 reward merits at the end, so it's a nice return on your time. I think we did a really good job with our anime picture of our fairy lady there. We did that last night. I miss playing it. I just don't know if people locally play or how to go about finding an online group. Yeah, if you don't mind paying, the start playing's a really good way and whatnot. If you want to learn Pathfinder Second Edition and you don't mind paying, 35. I think it's 35 a week for my Saturday game because it's 5 hours long. We might have an opening in that one soon. It is high level. You'd be jumping in, but we give you a simple class to play to start off with. Could use a tank up there. But let's see here. What am I doing here? Oh right, I need to train. Why am I inside City Hall? No, I need more money. Need more money, honey, if you've got the time. 2 slots available. Huh. What is Flashfire? AoE defense, click, area fix. Let me see what range fire says. Flash fire. So there's flash fire. Target must be on the ground to activate flash fire. So it's PB AoE. Targeted AoE. It is a targeted AoE. Is it? Invalid target. I need a target. Okay, for some reason I had it in my head it was a PB AoE. Oh, well, yeah, that does what it says on the tin. Okay. Is there a way to change the size of the taskbar? In your options. So go to menu, go to options, and under window, you can have UI scale. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So there's 70% for you young people, and then there's 100, and you can tell how old your streamer is because it gets bigger and bigger the older he gets. Just saying. All right. Fire cages, flash fire, magnitude stun. Oh man, you just saw me do it here. It gets really big and really small. If you don't see it getting big and small as you're moving the slider up and down, you're on the wrong slider bar. I like smoke. because I like lowering their chance to hit. I like for this to have better slowdown, so we'll do those two things. No problemo. How much boosters? Let's see here. Whoops. Auction house. Booster. Enhancement boosters. Going for about $1 million. So one thing I like to do sometimes just for kicks and giggles is just buy, when you have like 60 merits or something, you know, buy a couple of these boosters and throw them up on the auction house. If you can get $1 million for them, you're doing really good. And that's better than converters. Oh, my enhancement on slaughter sold for 90,000 each, so that's really good. That's some money in my pocket. Let's see how much. Enhancement converters are going for 55,000 right now, so it's a little on the cheap side, but that'll work. Gonna try the controller least played combo now. Oh no! Oh my gosh! What's the controller least played combo? Remind me what that painful pairing is. Symphony Control Water Blast. Not currently available together in Column Preacher. Song of Praise and Baptism. Oh my gosh, Sloth, that is hilarious. I love it. I love it. Sloth, that is phenomenal. If you create that, please share the artwork for it in the chat channel. Yeah. That is hilarious. Dude, that is epic. That is epic. I love it. Ice Control Sonic Resonance. Huh. Yeah, that does sound rough. That does sound pretty rough. Well, just remember, Dad, Arcane Bolt makes it all work. Hey, SL. How you doing? How's it going? Ugh. What I need? 2 recharges and a to hit debuff. 2 recharges. Oh, I've got a hot take this morning for you guys too, and it's not about religion for once. As much as I like my religious hot takes. Alright, I'm going to leave you with this and I'm going to make some coffee, so I'm going to be gone for a few minutes. And whatever have you. I forgot if I ever made a slide. Did I? Is this not to hit debuff? Does this not take to hit debuffs? To hit debuff? To hit debuff. Go to hit debuff? No? But you got to hit debuff in there. To hit, oh, to hit buff. Oh gosh. To hit debuff. A Sonic water-based character, Column Puddle's Pity Party. Oh no, hot take Hades. Yeah, no, I've got a hot take here. It's going to trigger somebody. Okay, I'm gonna trigger all of you right here. let me throw this character. I'm gonna put her. I'll put her right here into here. I'm gonna trigger you guys so bad. I'm gonna trigger the whole internet today. There's gonna be so much triggering. All right. I don't have too many radiation characters, but I'm gonna show you one that I hardly play. I threw him in the trash, in fact. I think he's in the trash section. Where did I put him? Pretty sure I stuck him in the trash section. Well, hold on. Before you go, we'll leave for coffee at the same time. But I got a question for you. This is a very important question. All right, we'll use my tanker here that never plays the example. Okay. Let me go into enhancements and powers. This is radiation melee. Okay. Here is my hot take. Super hot take. Radiation stupid for solo players. At least in the low levels and most of the leveling process. Okay? And you're clutching your pearls. You're like, what? What are you talking about, Phil? Radiation is so good. It's used on farmers. It's used on illusion radiation controllers like the GOAT controller. Right? Like, everyone loves radiation. And in fact, I've seen so many people, I'm building this radiation, that radiation, this radiation, that radiation. I think radiation, poof! Okay? If you're sitting down, here's what I mean. It depends, obviously, it depends on what you're trying to do and whatever have you. So maybe I'm only talking to a select population. But the way I play when I solo is I play on default difficulty. As I feel like I can take on more and more enemies as I level up. You didn't know this was still active. You didn't know what was still active, Darugu. And by the way, welcome. But what happens is when I get into higher levels, I put on more enemies. Times 2, times 3, times 4, right? What I don't normally do is go to +1, +2, +3, +4. Generally speaking, doing that raises your chances to miss, makes them have more hit points, and gives you a little bit more experience and money. But getting times 2 or times 3 gets you a lot more experience or money, right? Because there's more enemies to kill. Now, obviously, this is if you have a lot of AoE. If you don't have any AoE at all, then maybe you go for +1s, +2s. But the reason why I say this is kind of unnecessary is because I see many people using accuracy bonuses. Now, accuracy bonuses enhancements in one way or another. To the point where they have a 95% chance to hit most of the time anyways. What does radiation do, boys and girls? Well, the big thing that it does, the big thing that radiation does, is that it drains enemy of defense, right? And what does defense do? Defense makes it to where it's easier to hit the enemy. It lowers. So defense makes it harder to be hit, right? It's your armor class in D&D. But the thing is, most players have enough accuracy to where they're hitting 95% of the time anyways. If you notice on most of my characters, they're in the 90 to 95. You can't get any higher than 95% to hit. It won't let you. So you'll notice that most of my characters are at accuracy cap already anyways. Lowering the enemy's defenses even more doesn't serve a purpose. You can't have above 95% to hit. Right? Which is what a lot of this stuff does. Now, if you're going to go and put it at +2, +3, +4, then this can maybe help you. But again, I see a lot of people putting 2. When you have 2 accuracies in a power, I only put 1 in most of my powers through the leveling process. But if you have 2 accuracies, you're hitting 95%, I think, even on something +3. I'd have to double check that, but I want to see even on +3, you're probably hitting 95% of the time. So what's the point of lowering their defense even more? Unless your enemies that you're fighting are buffing their defense, which doesn't happen too often. So that is my TED Talk for today. I'm not convinced that radiation is a good leveling power. Unless you're forsaking accuracies. which honestly I should try that sometime just for sake accuracies and go out there and use a radiation character to lower defense as a way to get my accuracy instead. Of course, a lot of times with radiation powers, you have to hit in order for the accuracy or in order for the defense debuff to kick in. So there's my TED Talk for today. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I'm not saying it's completely useless. I'm just saying that there's probably other secondaries that are always useful while leveling. Secondaries, for example, that slow enemies or lower their recharge speed is always going to be useful in lowering their offense against you. Sonic, which lowers enemy resistances, is useful if they have resistances against smashing lethal, whatever you're bringing to the table, which is probably a lot more common than accuracy issues. Now, you could say that accuracy bonus for something else, right? I think there is a strong argument to be made, Raid, and I would need to test this on a character, and I may have the guy just to do it, the blaster that I have. I think there's a strong argument to be made that instead of doing red, red, yellow, which is what you see me do on my leveling characters, I just do red, red, red if it's radiation, which would allow them to do more damage. And if that's what people are doing, and maybe that's what they are doing, maybe that is the meta, and then you're saving those other slots for other things, then hey, Cross, how you doing today? Then maybe there's something to be said there. But I think that for a lot of people, they're putting almost everyone that I have seen, their builds puts accuracy on their powers, and it seems like overkill to me with radiation. If I can find my little blapper guy, I forget where I stuck my stupid blapper guy that I don't like. I don't like him so much I threw him on a back page somewhere. But I do have a blapper. Controller, Corruptor, Brute. Here it is, Nuked in. Nuked in, level 20. So we'll try it with him. We take a look at his powers. That's actually a really good point, Raid Shadow Legends. You do want your opening power to have the accuracy to start breaking down their defenses, right? But you can see here I've got an accuracy in all of these. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put an extra red right on most of these and just try running with this guy and watch his accuracy. And then pump the other damage skills. I think that might be the play, guys. So there's your meta thought for the moment. Hey, kitty. Now the cat doesn't want me to get up and get coffee. There it goes. All right, guys, let's go get some coffee, use the bathroom, take an intermission. I don't know. I think I have a be back page for this. Nope. I never did set up that page. I need to set that page up. I have like a be back page, but in the meantime, I've got be back text. So here we go. No, cat, you can't play with that. Okie dokie. How do I feel about super reflexes? I think... Are you still there, Todd? I was gone for a while. Let's see here. Minus 14 for 8 seconds. Minus 21 for 12 seconds. 12 seconds. Close AoE. Alright, so... Oh, 3 whopping seconds, 6 seconds. Come on, cat, really? More defense debuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Cat, stop being incorrigible. Leave that package alone. You're an evil kitty. He's all over the place today. Critical hit damage. All Scarper melee attacks have a chance to let critical for up to double damage. The higher the rank is a greater chance for a successful event. And that's it. Huh. Safety deposit boxes. Fight the good fight. How you doing, Todd? So super reflexes. I think super reflexes are pretty darn good. In my opinion, if you're playing anything but a tank or a tanker or a brute, you have a strong argument to make to only use to focus on defenses rather than resistances first. And if you're going to go defenses, super reflexes is really, really good for that, right? Yeah. I'm right here. I'm just off camera looking for my playing glove. What you got for me, Raid? What you got for me? I am trying to find my glove. There's my glove. I've been looking for you, glove. Alright, got a glove. And while he's working on that joke, I will tell you that I've talked to several super high level players, and there's quite a few of them that actually, I mean people who really press the meta, and there's a number of them that say defenses are really really good as well, even for tankers and stuff, to do a tanker focused, like shield tanker is a pretty popular choice for high end meta. Oh, catastrophe. Ha ha. Okay. He didn't say it was a good joke, to be fair. Let's see. We need travel. We need mission teleport. That guy right there needs to be on every character you have. And I did sell, by the way, some of you might remember that a session or two ago, I bought a bunch of unslaughters on this character. And I told you could sell them for 100,000 each. And if you do, you'll make more money than you can with converters, just a little bit more. But my converters were selling for 55,000 each, which is 165 for 3, which I think if I multiply that out, if you're doing 55,000 for... let me break out a calculator, actually. So 55,000 times 30. No, wait. This was divided by 2. 8,000. So normally with unslaughters, I'd make 800,000, 825. I sold these for $1 million for the same number of merit rewards. So, yeah. Oh, I get it. It's a dad joke. Yeah, I understand. It's you're making a dad joke. I'm not the It's really really hard to get me to laugh at dad jokes. Seriously, you have to work really really hard to get me to laugh at dad jokes. All right, let's do some melee action with Falcon Girl here. I've been trying to level up my melee characters lately, so you're going to see me play. Most of my melee characters, I think, are villains. Well, I have 2 heroes, 2 villains, so I guess it's even. Clamor and destruction. Clamor and destruction. Clamor and destruction. Clamor and destruction. Level 29. 11 doors. 50 reward merits. Oof. 4 kill-alls. Man, they don't do anything really short and easy with this. Oof. And then there's... Investigate the freak show. And Steel Canyon. And we don't have Steel Canyon unlocked. And thus ends my comedy routine. Well, I don't have Steel Canyon unlocked, so before I forget, I'm going to grab a merit. I can't believe I don't have Steel Canyon unlocked. I always grab this merit over here. Oh, well, I guess not. It's always nice to have lots of inspirations. It says investigate the freak show. It doesn't say which freak show to investigate. Hey, bad guys. Very nice of you guys to put yourselves right in a cone formation in front of the person with the big stick. That was very convenient. Whack him with the big stick. That's what you do. Show him who's boss. Whack him there, then whack him with the big stick. Oh, come on. You know, you use an accuracy and the first thing you do is miss. It just feels so bad. Oh, come on. For the love of all that is holy in my entire life. Like, come on. This is... The resurrection percentage on these guys is way too high. Beating a lieutenant once is already kind of hard for some classes to do, and they keep popping back up like daisies. Just stay dead. I do like the reflections of the character in the water. That's pretty cool. Yeah, having to kill those guys twice gets tedious. Oh yeah, yeah. They take your endurance, and then on top of that, since they're resurrecting, they need more endurance to kill, right? So it ends up being like a double whammy. It ends up totally being a double whammy. Oh, that was bone crushing. Off to church. I may be gone, but I'll probably be back on tonight because I need to probably leave soonish. But to get some things done this afternoon. But I'll be back when I'm done with all of that. Depends on what time zone you're in, but I'll probably be on later tonight if nothing else. Oh, come on. Oh gosh, she got revenge. She popped back up and got major revenge. They kept knocking me down. I'm like, come on. Ooh. Ooh, that was brutal. Back by popular demand, my internet decided to have a hiccup. Oh. Uh-oh. Well, welcome back. saying I might have to take a break. Might need to rest my hand. This mouse gets a little tiring to use after a while. Constantly holding down the... I think what doesn't help is constantly holding down the right mouse button for camera control. I think that's what's probably not helping a ton. Okay, just make sure that is a real dead end and not like some entryway into another sewer somewhere. Oh, there's some freak show up there. Should probably go get them. Come here, boys. Ooh. Oh, that's beautiful. That brings a tear to my eye. Ooh, crunch. Crunch and tough. Hello, bad guy. What you doing over here, Going up in the air? Being crunched down? The question is going to be extremely valuable as to whether or not we can be friends, Phil. How do you drink your coffee? Straight black, sugar, milk cream, sugar, and sugar cream? Raid. Real men drink their coffee black. There is no... We do not dilute the very fine taste of our instant coffee with sugar and cream. Plus, I was a really heavy person. I still am heavy, but I was really heavy before I got rid of sugar in my life. So that's a whole nother thing that I can talk about. Real men don't need coffee. No, I don't know if I ever said real men need coffee, but a lot of people drink coffee, men and women. But real men who drink coffee drink their coffee black and don't dilute it with girly sugar and creams. Yeah. Alright, so first mission, kill all. Even though it doesn't say it. This is clamor and destruction. Defeat the gang leader and his crew at Atlas Park. Now we could be friends? Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, no. I definitely recommend that if... the best thing you can do is learn to cook your own food and minimize your sugar intake greatly. Which really comes down to cooking a lot of your own food, because a lot of manufactured food, of course, has all kinds of added sugars and stuff. So, really comes down to that, sadly. It's the best advice I can give anybody, health advice I can give you. A lot of twists and turns. Oh, hello, nurse. That's exactly what I'm looking for right here. Very nice of y'all to bunch up around me like this. Will say I do appreciate it. Oh, come on. Seriously? Like, 3 of the 10 popped back up. That's ridiculous. Stay down this time. Alright. I drink water and black coffee. Yep, way to go. Reduce carbs. Change your oil every 3,000 miles. Yeah, you know, you can get into carbs, you can get into exact nutrition, you can get into exercise, you can do all that, right? Sure, right? But there's one thing that you can do. It's like the one life hack that you can do. That one change will make the biggest difference than a lot of those. Possibly even more than all those combined. Maybe not, but close. And that is get rid of sugar. That's an easy message to give to people. It's much easier to understand than me giving you a laundry list of all these nutrition facts. It's the one thing that changed my life in terms of nutrition. It's just getting rid of all the extra sugar. Ketchup, everything. Got rid of it all. Dumped it out of the house. It was an emotional moment. Can I have my attacks back here? Let me guess. One of them just popped back up behind me. Son of a biscuit eater. Yeah. Yeah, son of a biscuit eater. Oh, come on. You know, you just can't keep up with all the endurance and everything. Between them draining it and needing more endurance to keep... for them popping back up over and over again. It is just the epitome of bullshittery. And stay dead. Yeesh. No stealth on this too? Yeah. Do I use any sugar substitutes? No. So, that used to be a big argument on one side of my family. And the lady who said that they don't have any bad effects and whatever have you, she was the one who sadly died of leukemia, even though her family had no prior history of leukemia. And I blame it on those fake sugars. A lot of those fake sugars still make you fat, which is kind of ironic, because the body, because of the way body metabolism, blah 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 blah. But then there's definitely some implications in terms of what they do to your body. Not a fan. And I don't need it. Here's the other thing. When you cut sugar out completely, it is hard. It is no doubt hard. I had like these cravings like you wouldn't believe. Absolutely hard. But the beauty is once you oh, you have got to be kidding me. This is so bull crap. Come on. Does it not count as extra XP when they get back up? I guess I should watch. Jeez. It should count as an additional. I think it does, but I'm not 100% sure on it. The problem is, like, on some missions like that, you don't clear it until it's all dead. Yeah, that would be all the game got right. That's for sure. That's for sure. Watching your street, it did. Oh, my my log. Yeah, I think if you watch the log, I got the log right here of the rewards, so you'll see the XP and stuff pull up. I got her on double XP, so we're only gonna see experience coming in drops. Let me see, I don't think I picked up this. There's an exploration e-badge right there. Make sure I get that so I can come back to Talos. Board the transit. That's not the transit. Oh, where's the transit at? It's around there somewhere. Destroy the doohickey. Oh, you mean like this, Sonic? What do I have this thing set? Oh, times 2 players. No wonder. I like my life a little difficult. Why not? Oh, fudge. My defenses are off. That was super smart of me. Oh, come on. Fly away, fly away, fly away. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. Don't run into a huge ass group of those guys with no defenses turned on. That's kind of silly. It would be kind of funny too if they like chased me out of the transit system. Congratulations, you've earned the runaway like a chicken badge. That'd be funny. Yeah, this is a free gaming pro tip, boys and girls. Turn on your defenses before you go running into a big old group of these guys. I'm gonna go ahead and clear out the guys down here first, just to have some clear space behind my back. Pro tip. Pro tips brought to you by Phil. Yeah, and they heal themselves. That's even more bull crap. Bullshit. Why did I know that was going to happen? Yeah, he's worth 800 more XP. I mean, they're really good for leveling up, I suppose. What am I taking damage from? I'm taking 3, 3s, 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 and I can't rest because of the 3s. What's that from? Critical hit, countdown adjustments. Yeah, maybe it's from the Sonic device. Oh, let's see, Sonic device. Okay, it's the Sonic device. I just need to look at the battle log right there. This thing's got quite an AoE range on it. Well, I know where it's going. And remember, knowing is half the battle. Wow, there's no like easy way to get to him without aggroing a bunch of other things. I swear I don't know where I get this patrol XP from. Whoop, you're dead. That little bit right there wasn't there before, I'm pretty sure. Dang nabbit. Every time I try to line up one of these stupid little cone things, they juke around at the very last minute, ruining the whole thing. Oh, you're just cute. Die and stay dead. That's how you do it. Hey, Jason. Oh, wow, it's another Sonic device mission. Let's copy and paste the last mission and use it again. Why the hecky why the hecky decky not? Oh, and let's use multiple levels so you'll never find the darn thing. Yeah, SLC, I think we're going to have next Friday night a big celebration if things keep up at this pace. We'll see. Friday night could be the 1,000 subscriber celebration. Could be, could be, could be. Wow, this is kind of bullshittery because you're having to like look through multiple floors at the same time. Defeat Punkadelic and his crew and the Sonic device. Right, excellently used with our new term in context. Yeah, I'm like having to look really careful. I'm looking for Sonic devices and I'm looking for this guy. A Punkadelic. Yeah, this is not, I don't know, man. This what can you say? It's like City of Heroes jank. And we wonder why this game is a hard sell to modern players. Don't give them any ideas. That might be the next mission. A defeat all like this. Oh, there's the Sonic device. I'm looking on the bridges. It's down here on the ground. Yeah, I don't need to kill all of you, but I'm gonna do it just for funsies. Where are you going, buddy? See, one of them pops back up while I'm resting, because I like to do that. For Spide, exactly. Now I still need to find Punkadelic, but I'll keep an eye on the ground this time, because apparently there are some on the ground here. Let me just take a look. Searching the ground's a little bit easier. Just going to search the ground level, but I don't think I saw a lot of enemies on the ground. No, not really. It's just that they just put the Sonic thing on the ground, maybe. You're not Punkadelics. There he is right there in the back. I'm hoarding all these blue enhancements, you know, because I know I'm going to need them at some point when they start draining me of all my freaking endurance bullshittery. And that's how fast a freaking scrapper takes out a lieutenant, when they really put their mind to it. Remember, boys and girls, whirling mace is your friend. Huh. That didn't trigger the end? Now you have to get rid of that group too? Maybe this guy. It's this guy right here. Come to Princess. There we go. Now this is a defeat all. Yippee-ki-yay. I'm actually going to switch this to ×1 just to get through it faster. On Talos Island. I just realized I am on Talos Island. Don't use your mission teleporter when your mark is just right over there. It's got a 30-minute cooldown after all. What about solo bosses? I think it's a good way to go. So I did some research. I did some science, and here's what's my take. If you add +1 to your missions, then you will get you'll get more XP, but things will slow down. You'll miss more often, things like that, right? In this one character I was trying that was pretty well built, it basically still came out to a good like 10-15% more, whatever it was, XP per hour. If you set it to +2, you get similar results. Things are tougher, but as long as you don't die, you're still coming out ahead. You're killing things more slowly, but the XP bonuses, at least in level 50, were worth it. Now, I haven't tried this at lower level yet. Putting bosses on was similar to playing in +2 in terms of how long it took me to get through things, and how ouch, you son of a gun, and in terms of the fact that it was about the same XP per hour as +2. So bosses, I think bosses are really good to turn on if number one, you've conquered +2, and number two, you're playing a character without a lot of AoE, right? Because bosses, you can solo focus on them. Like this scrappers, for example, are pretty good at taking down single targets. Stalkers, really good at single targets, but not really great at AoE. Some of them aren't. So it could be better to turn on bosses rather than going for more people. Okay, so Jason, since you're listening and you had a question, I was looking place. Is there a place you can go to check out build guides, guides to where pick up skills, and so on? A detailed build guide. I would generally, I would ask first, what do you want to do in playing the game? Okay, so do you want to solo through the levels? Do you want to just play with a bunch of large groups? How do you anticipate wanting to play the game? Because that's very important in terms of how you're going to build your character and how much attention you're going to pay to certain aspects of building your character and stuff. Do you just want to get to high levels as quickly as possible, or do you like to solo your way through the levels and figure things out and all that other fun jazz? Solo for sure. I want to experience the game through solo and enjoy it. Okay. So now one thing to keep in mind is if you look up a lot of build guides online, a lot of them are designed for a person who's already at 50 and kind of respecking and all this stuff. And they don't consider the solo process. And a great example of this is the controllers I've been playing. In looking up controllers, everyone would give me these build guides of like playing Fire Kin or Illusion Radiation, you know, which basically relies heavily on pets to do an obscene amount of damage while you buff the hell out of them or whatever the case may be. The problem with that is that you don't get those pets until you're 26 or something like that. You get the Phantom Army earlier than 26, but by the time you get it reduced and all that jazz. The point being is that it's really, really rough to solo, right? Up until then. And even once you get there, you still need some more levels to get the gear and get the recharge reductions and all that other jazz to make it really come online. So what do you pick in the meantime? What do you pick at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that your soloing experience isn't like watching paint dry? And that you're going to have a very hard time finding in exact build guides, because a lot of people don't think about that kind of player when they're doing build guides. They're thinking about the level 50 guide. Now that's where some of my videos can help out. I do have a playlist for new and returning players with some generalized advice. And I'm around a lot, so you can always ask me for some generalized advice as well. You know, like some general, I can give you, if you got a pen and paper handy, I can give you a lot of general advice to get you started off to a good start in a solo journey and help you really enjoy the game and whatever have you. Let's see here. Not rough. I would say slow since the damage isn't high. With clerics, controllers, right? It's really well for me. Yeah, it depends on what your definition of rough is. For me, if I'm literally taking 35 minutes to get through a mission that would take any other normal class 10 minutes, and a brute could do in 5 minutes, I call that rough. For me, that's rough. May not be rough for you. You might be very, very, very patient, but for me, that's rough. Yeah. But with the arcane bolt method that I've come up with, and you can see that in how to solo a controller, I'm now clearing missions just as fast, if not faster, than other classes like Dominator and maybe... it's probably a stretch to say as fast as my Sentinels, but it's pretty fast. It's definitely acceptable, what I would consider acceptable. So I always do the lieutenant test. Can you get through a lieutenant in under 10 hits? That's one test I do. And yeah, the controller build that I have at level 2, 3, 4, 5, if you're playing it like some people do, you will take more than 10 hits. But if you use the arcane bolt method of building that character, then you will get through those a lot faster. Yeah. Yeah, and my general advice in a nutshell is if you're just returning to the game and you want the smoothest experience possible, I suggest playing a Mastermind. If you like support, play Mastermind. So Mastermind's all about supporting their pets to get there the maximum benefit. If you like playing DPS, consider a Brood or Sentinel. They're really, Sentinel if you like ranged, Brute if you like melee. They're both fairly tanky, and they're both very good DPS. So you'll have an overall great experience with either one of those and whatnot. So that's my general starting advice normally to people is, yeah. Yeah, SL, and all the times I've talked about controllers and how painful they are to level and everything else, and I've talked about it in YouTube videos, I've talked about it in streams and in Discords and whatever have you. No one ever came back and said, "Are you serious, Phil? Have you tried leveling them up with Arcane Bolt, like taking Arcane Bolt early, sliding up to 6 slots, and just running through?" Because it is epic. No one ever suggested that. So with Mastermind, the nice thing about Brute, Sentinel, and Mastermind is there is no power choice combination that will make you feel utterly bad. Whereas like with Controller, Corruptor, you can actually pick something that really, really doesn't work and can make your experience very miserable, if not impossible. But with Mastermind, that's simply not the case. Now, there are things that tend to gel well a little bit better than others with Mastermind, because your secondary power set is support. So what I try to look for is I first pick my pets based on flavor myself. Do you want robots? Do you want demons? Do you want zombies? What kind of flavor do you want, right? I would pick on that first. Don't worry so much about the meta. Have fun with the game. All Masterminds work really well, more or less. So pick what you want first, right? And then once you pick, like, let's say you pick bots, now you're going to pick a secondary to support those bots. And you want a secondary, if you like I said, anything will work, but if you want the best optimal synergy, then you're going to look for a power set that works well with the bots. Now, bots like to stay back and shoot at range, which means they're close to you. Which means something like Dark would work pretty well, because Dark has a number of things where it buffs around the caster. Like their healing, for example. It sucks something from the enemy. It does have to hit the enemy. But when it hits, then everybody around the caster or the hero gets healed. Well, bots stay back with the caster, right? They're going to stay back with you. You guys are just going to stay back and hopefully keep the enemies tied down. Plus, Dark Miasma has like tentacles that slows things down and keeps them at a distance, which is what you want with bots. It's what you want for you. It's really, really good synergy, right? Whereas Marine Affinity, or whatever it's called, Marine Control, Affinity Support, whatever, a lot of its buffs and healings are around the enemy. Same thing with like kinetics, right? You have like a couple of things with kinetics that hits the enemy and then buffs everything around the enemy, all the allies around the enemy. So you need melee pets for that, not range pets like robots. You can technically do bots with kinetics, and if you're pretty strategic about it, you can get more mileage out of it. But it's much easier, I think, to use kinetics or Marine with something like Nature, the puppy dogs, because they're going to always be around your targets. So you're going to be debuffing and buffing at the same time. That is kind of the general advice I would give you. Just look at your secondaries. And if you pick your primary first, if you pick zombies or whatever it is, if you go onto any of our Discord forums and you say, hey, what's a good secondary for masterminds bots or nature or whatever, Beast Mastery it's called, I'm sure you'll get plenty of suggestions. But I have been running Marine with my Beast and Dark Miasma with my bots, and both of those have been really, really great. Shields with bots is also really good. That's a classic combination, right? Shields on bots, so you could do that if you want. Yeah, and I've not played Negro and Demons yet. It's one of the many things on the to-do list. So I don't have a really super strong opinion yet on what goes well with each of those. But I primarily try to find out, or I try to find out if they're primarily ranged or melee, and that gives me a good clue of what to do after that. Yeah, the cat is being a little iffy. Yeah, Demon's Thermal sounds interesting. Absolutely. Sounds like that could be fun. That might be something I actually want to try. Because I haven't done Thermal or anything yet, so it'd be nice to play Thermal something. I like doing things I haven't done before, regardless of how optimal they are. You gotta have at least one of everything if you play as many alts as I do. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have plenty of slots to try different things, so you're not stuck to one thing. You don't have to worry about that. There's never such thing as a completely wasted character. I can always take the merits and everything I earned off of one character and give it to the others. And I usually even go back and play my bad characters sometimes just to remind me why they're bad. Merc radiation. Yeah, because, you know, now pets don't always have the best to hit, so having radiation help lower defense can definitely be a good synergy there. Absolutely. Abso-positively. I like to hit one, even though I have tons of ideas. Yes, you definitely... You know, after you've, like, played for a while, you know, you need to at some point pick one, whatever your favorite is and take it to 50. For me, it was my Sentinel, right? Take something to 50 so you have at least one character at 50. Absolutely. Don't get too far down the alcoholic well that you're making character after character after character after character and you never got something to 50. Get something to 50. Use double XP if you have to. Two whacks with the mace is all it takes. Mastermind was my second character I got to 50. Very easy to level Masterminds to 50. Very easy. Like I said, they're S-tier solo for a reason. I have no problems with even elite bosses on Masterminds. They may kill my pets, I just summon more. If I start to run out of endurance, I run away and come back and try again. After I rest. It's that simple. Yeah, I never did get a character to 50 in live. It's much easier nowadays, obviously, with things like double XP, and I think they've improved the XP tables, but also because it's more fun than ever before. They've buffed the classes enough to where you can solo any of the classes on default difficulty, and generally speaking, have an easy go of it, except for Defender. There's a reason why when I did my rankings, I ranked everything a B or an A or an S. Right? I didn't do that haphazardly. I don't believe everything normally gets a participation trophy. It was because they're legitimately all pretty easy to solo up. The Bs require a little more patience or specific builds, or whatever the case may be, but they're still pretty darn soloable, right? And the A's, with the A's, you can pick almost anything and be very, very soloable. Absolutely. And the S tier is Mastermind. Yeah, Excelsior has the most people. I'm leaving Excelsior to go to Torchbearer because for me it's too many people, and I really don't care about grouping. In the past, I was on Reunion and had no problem getting groups on Reunion, which is one of the slowest servers out there. But the reason why is because I was willing to start them. If you're willing to start your own groups, it's usually not a problem on any server, I think. Yeah. Clicking my defense. My defense has been clicked. They went down for a minute due to low endurance. We got them back up. I backed up and put them on. But yeah, Excelsior is definitely too populated for me nowadays. I'm more of a country hick. I don't want to be in the middle of the big city anymore. That's what happens when you get old, guys. You just want to move out to the country so you can die in peace. You can actually, if you don't mind paying for 2 sets of enhancements, from what I understand, you can actually have multiple builds on one character. So, if you don't mind paying for extra enhancements, I'm going to be doing that on my very first character, by the way. Because I want to keep her original build, as bad as it is, because I always want to remember, the character, how I originally played it. That's how fast a scrapper, when you piss off a scrapper, that's how fast they can go through you. One thing about scrapper is when you use, first of all, scrappers have some of the highest base damage in the game. And that's kind of important because whenever they eat a red or whatever have you, they get a lot of value out of it. When they use build-up, they would get more out of it, because build-ups tend to do... Oh, he freaking resurrected. You son of a gun. They get more value out of build-up, right? But then... but on top of that... Wow, that's a lot of killing. On top of that, their build-up does a higher percentage than other build-ups. Like, build-up on a scrapper says, I think 100%. I think on like a stalker it's 75 or 80%. So you not only have a higher percentage than a stalker, but you got a higher base for that percentage to work off of. Wow, that lieutenant in 2 hits due to a crit. Now that's kind of odd. He is declicked. I think it might be because that guy's alive right there. He seems to be like just kind of stuck there. There. Now can I get this guy's cooperation? That didn't work. So that guy won't move, which means I can't complete the objective. I don't know why. You are a survivor. I know, right? I keep wanting to say Ray Shadow Legends. Now, I have sworn off a lot of those live service-y gotcha games. They clearly don't respect your time as a gamer. Well, much less your money in your pocketbook. The thing is, I like the idea of having a game that's constantly updated, that, you know, maybe I'm paying a monthly fee to help support. But the gotcha games, you know, they take that a little too far with the whole, you know, with the whole gotcha system and stuff. And then they monetize it in a way that's very confusing, because they know that's what gets people to spend money. So next thing you know, you've got all these different currencies and meta currencies and bullshitteries, and it's tough for even an accountant like myself to figure out. And when an accountant has a trouble figuring out exactly how much a dollar is worth in that game, you know you're in trouble. Yeah, well, and then what's a legendary, really? A legendary is something that's extremely rare, but what creates that scarcity? Oh, that's right, they do, right? Because they'll say, well, this is legendary because it's a 1 in 10,000 drop, hee as they curl their mustache. They were the ones who made it a 1 in 10,000 drop. Now, you play some games, like you go and you play Suikoden. There's 100 characters in Suikoden, right? And they're all pretty fairly easy to get. A couple are a little hidden, you gotta read an FAQ. But there's no random drop chance. There's no you pumping money into it. You collect the characters by playing the game, and the vast majority of them are very easy to procure. You know, so the problem is that the monetization model in those games is incentivizing them to obfuscate and make everything really overly difficult, right? And so they're going to do that because that's where the money's... Wow, can you believe she's back here in this little tiny corner? Because that's where the money's at. That's where... Oh gosh, now they have mythical ones. Yeah. Yeah. It was... Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't mind the idea of a game that I'm playing like a monthly pass. I like the idea of battle passes, things like that. I'm playing the game, I knock out objectives. It's kind of like the achievement system, but with real rewards. Like, I don't like the badge system in City Heroes because I don't like achievement systems. I don't like achievement systems because they're just bragging rights. That's it. But if you're saying, hey, so you do these different objectives every month, and like imagine in City of Heroes if there was like a one of these systems, and it said for like every 10 Ouroboroses you did, you got 2 points, and that got you along the battle pass, and that you got to so many points on the battle pass, you unlocked a new helmet or something, or a new temporary power or consumable. I'd be like, okay, cool, that's cool. I like that, right? That's pretty cool. But yeah, I want to enjoy one of these games. I want to like these games, but then they're because the money is just too hot, too good for them, too tempting for them. They always take it much further and make it ridiculous with 850 different currencies. Yeah, I hear a device beeping, but it's something. I think I don't know if there's something broke about this mission or what. So I'm trying to figure it out. It's definitely another one of those bullshit missions where you'll fly around for 25 minutes not knowing exactly what you need to do or where you need to go. And honestly, I think if I just, that's a side. I think it's a optional objective. So the fact that it's broken, it seems broken anyways. Shouldn't matter as long as I actually kill everything. I think I know where the last ones are at now that I think about it. Well, I haven't looked up here. Let me just look over there. There's always that office building in the middle up here. Did I check that yet? Oh, great. I thought that might be a place for them. I was wrong. Let's check second floor. Nothing here. No little freak shows like popping up somewhere. This is why my wrist gets tough. Oh, hello. How did I miss you guys? Oh my gosh, you're out in the broad daylight. There we go. If you got an extra 1 to 2K, I got some things you could spend it on. And Jason, older games and stuff like that. That's the thing. I didn't grow up, so I'm an older guy. I grew up with Atari and Nintendo games, but you don't see me going and playing old Nintendo games, right? You see me playing games that came out in like 2010, 2015, 2005, whatever it may be. I'm supposed to be looking for Talos, and whatnot. So there's something just special about that era. It was kind of the apex, I think, for a lot of gaming genres. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not even like, oh, I wish for the old NES games that I, grew up with, or the Atari games or whatever. And then I played a lot of Super Nintendo. You don't see me going back and playing those. I played a lot of PlayStation 1. You don't see me playing those too often, though I wouldn't mind another round of Vandal Hearts. But, yeah. There's a couple of new games I kind of like. I like the WWE myself, like 2K24, 25. I like to think I'm a little open-minded. Yeah, Final Hearts was so really cool. Great tactical game and had a lot of blood. Geysers of blood. I'll never forget the geysers of blood. Vandal Hearts, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Twisted Metal 2. Front Mission 3, which has just been re-released on Steam. I'm waiting to see how good they did the port, but because I'll buy that on Steam. I'd love to stream that, but I don't know if anybody would tune in for that. Like I said, I don't know if people would tune in if I streamed other games, but I've streamed other games in the past and didn't get a lot of viewers, but most of that was on Twitch, to be fair, not YouTube. But yeah. Actually, I've streamed a couple of games on YouTube in the past and really never got a lot of viewers, so it's really City of Heroes that you guys are like, oh yay, he's doing City of Heroes, so yay. Front Mission 3 was the best, yes. Only fancy to check out McDickey called Wrestling Empire. Well, one of the things I really like about WWE 2K is they have done a better job of doing faster cruiserweight wrestlers and getting the action down pretty good. But a lot of it I play for is the storylines, living through some of the WrestleMania memories. Some of the new storylines they do with your created wrestler, I like those. Even though they're kind of corny and hokey. It's kind of the shiz you would see around WWE and whatnot. So, yeah. So Front Mission 3, I might try streaming some other games here from time to time just to test the waters. But I don't want people to freak out and go, oh, he's no longer doing City of Heroes. There will be one day where I will stop doing City of Heroes, at least for a while. You know, eventually you take a break off of everything. But that time is not coming soon. At least not in the next month or 2 or 3, probably. Yeah, you know, the thing is, Front Mission 4 feels more like a classic today just because we haven't really seen a lot of other great tactical titles come out after it, so. Well, Raid, maybe you should put like a link to it in our Discord channel and at me and stuff, and maybe I can take a look at it when I'm not streaming, because I might forget about that by the time I get done streaming. Oh gosh, that poor guy died in 2 hits. That's the power of a pissed off scrapper. Oh my gosh. Oh, and the fact he resurrected didn't stop me from finishing the mission. He was resurrecting there at the end. That's too funny. Oh gosh, it's disabling more Sonic devices, guys. Isn't that exciting? Steroids and powder wrestlers passing away. No, I like fake storylines, not real storylines. Yeah, and I've got Front Mission 3 on emulation and stuff, and that works really well. But there is that new Steam version as well, and I don't mind supporting, you know, developers and stuff as long as the port's decent, and it helps if they've added a little something to it, like remastered graphics or soundtrack or anything. I don't need much. I don't need the game reinvented. But Front Mission 3 was really fun. So a lot of my friends would come over to my house, you know, when PlayStation first came out. I never had a lot of money. But I always made money for video games, and I would work overtime and stuff just to fund my technology habit. So I had a PlayStation 1, and I had Front Mission. People would come over and just watch me blow up big, huge mechs, you know, on that. It's supposed to be disabling devices. I'm not seeing any devices there, so I'm not messing with you guys. Yeah, I could put some stealth on this character. I'm going to get like 50 merit rewards from this, which will give me some money to buy some more toys for this character. I think this is going to become my main scrapper. So this will be the scrapper I get to 50, I believe. So it would help to put some stuff on the character. Oh, hello, bad guy. Oh gosh, 2-hit kill. That's the power of a pissed off scrapper. Oh, you think you're something. Yeah, you're not something. You're fodder before the scrapper of death. Oh gosh, the pain, the inhumanity, the suffering. Oh gosh, yeah, no, she just crushed his balls with that shot. It was most unfortunate. Resident Evil. Oh, anywhere off topic maybe, right? Since it's a different subject, sure. When, let's see here. I bought a PS1 solely based on Resident Evil. Resident Evil's a really great... I love Resident Evil 4. Now, I played it way after the fact, so it's not nostalgia, but I love Resident Evil 4. I gotta go to Skyway City. All my stuff is on cooldown. I'm going through missions so fast, I actually have everything on cooldown at the moment. I'm going to have to walk there the old-fashioned way. Let's see here. So curious, what levels should I just follow the story and do the missions from contacts? Yeah, for the first 15 levels or so, I generally just do follow the contacts, do story missions, collect merit rewards. I got a video on that. And get the merit rewards because that's what's going to pay your bills. That's what's going to get you the SOs. You want to make sure you always buy SOs, enhancements, and keep your powers up to date. My video, again, kind of shows you how to do that. You generally want in your attack powers 2 reds and 1 yellow, which is accuracy, 2 reds for damage. So if you take a look at my enhancements right here, you see 2 reds and 1 yellow each. That's, you know, usually a good early level setup to help you do maximum damage and get through things pretty quick. For that, you need money, and that's where merit rewards come in and all that other jazz. And you get those from doing story arcs. So for soloing, that's the best way to make money as you're going along. Absolutely. Especially if you're doing double XP, you're not getting any money from drops, which is fine because the drops don't give you hardly anything for money. Am I going to get the newer one this year, Resident Evil 9? I probably won't get it right when it comes out. I own like every other Resident Evil, and I haven't gotten through half of them yet. I started 5. See, that'd be another one I'd love to stream. But I did play through last year. I played through 4 and 4 Remastered, and I love them both. I love them. Love them, love them, love them. Is this Task Force WST? I don't know what WST is, but this is a story arc, Clamor and Destruction. It's 11 doors, and it gives you 50 reward merits, which will be worth almost $10 million. $10 million. I'm going to say dollars because it sounds cooler than influence. Gosh, the scrapper on default settings is just decimating everything. Hey, Flipster, how you doing? Oops. Gotta be careful about that. Defeat Cameron and his crew. Okay, so they put the next mission right over there already. Sometimes you don't need to turn in the mission. They just already pop the next one, and you just go on right to it. Now, this is 11 missions, but some of these missions I tear through really quickly. Just go to the boss and beat him at the end. No, I'm gonna be streaming, but I have to get out of here. Jason, I'm gonna be leaving when I'm done with the story arc, but I'll be probably be back tonight. I won't say for a fact, but there's a decent chance I'll be here tonight. So if you're free tonight, I'd like to see you again. And I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night too. I'm usually busy during the weekdays in between them. Oh, this used to be a task force? Yeah, so they did the same thing with, what was his name? Positron? The old Positron task force is now a story arc you can do. It's a really fun one. Gives you a lot of good reward merits. Takes you a while to get through, but very nice on the reward merits. Penelope in Task Force, which is a pretty fun one, to be fair. People like Penelope. Deciding if you want to do your controller or start a new character. Do you flip? Yeah, try a couple different characters, but make sure you get 1 to 50 eventually. Make sure you. Like, if you're on your 3rd or 4th character, you should pick one of your pick your favorite one and make it a goal to get a 50. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm kind of doing something similar. Now, I've already got several characters at 50, but all of my characters at 50 are ranged or support. So my new goal is to get a scrapper, a tanker, and a stalker, and a scrapper, all the melee characters, and get one of each to 50. So this is going to be my stalker that gets to 50. Oh, if all your okay, then there you go. Except for the controller. Okay, so clearly the last thing you need to do, Flipster, is to get a controller to 50. And then you unlock the achievement, right? You totally unlock the achievement at that point. Well, that seems to be smashed in the head. Thank you, thank you. Any of the Arachnos remaining? I don't know if I would do the Arachnoses or not. Eventually, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And thankfully, I have a level 50 Defender already, because there's no way I'd want to solo one of those to 50. But I do have one for my group days, so I'm good there. I do like stalkers, though. That staff stalker I got is a lot of fun, but so is the staff tanker. Even though it's slower, the tanker is slower. Ooh, that hurt. Yeah, anytime, Flipster. I'm glad it's working out for you. Give me a minute or 10, guys. I just need to check on something. I might be gone for a few minutes. I'm talking and my microphone's off. Yeah, I can take care of that stuff after I finish this task force. I'm going to jump off when I finish this. I want to get my 50 reward merits. I'm kind of curious how much time it's going to take, too, so I'm trying to get through this in one go. I'm going to be hopping in to run some more boards in this stream and take some notes, see which ones you like the best. That's the best way to go about it. Do you use Google Sheets, Raid? I followed you guys on it, yeah. Yeah, I got it all fixed now. Ray, do you use Google Sheets? Oof. That's how you crush their skulls in. Not really? Okay. Fair enough. I like how the hitbox for this is completely separate from the device. Yeah, it's a Google version of a spreadsheet. That's true. Yep. Oh gosh, this thing's gonna knock me out. Shit, shit, shit. Run away from the device. Holy shiz, that's a deadly device. The last one didn't harm me nearly that much. I still have my comeback later here. Yeah, got rid of it. Alright, let me... Oh, I did get rid of that box too. Well, that's good. Oh, I was turning my defenses on before I got into the next fight. Ooh, what do we have here? An elite boss. Ooh, an elite boss. Now, those are a real test. I usually judge classes to a strong extent by how well they handle elite bosses, because sooner or later you will have to fight elite bosses in some story arcs. At some point, if you do enough story arcs, you're going to run into an elite boss. And heaven forbid there's complications like lots of other side minions and stuff. All right. So we're definitely going to want to be ready for this elite boss. I'm having a really hard time hitting her, and I have no accuracies on it right now. Any other time, I'm like swimming in accuracies. Wow, she will not go down. Like, you're supposed to be mowing them down as a freaking scrapper, but Sunshine does not want to die. Die. Oh, I forgot the Envenom Dagger, duh. Well, I think she's dead now unless she pops back up. She pops back up, I'm like running like a coward because I'm out of inspirations. We're got a new elite boss. Let's see if I can tell the difference. That's funny. That's one of my jokes. Oh, I think I just found the last victim here. And there we go. So 1 hour, 37 minutes for 50 reward merits. Not too shabby. Under 100 minutes there for 50 reward merits. Glamour and Destruction took me 97 minutes, so 31 reward merits a minute. Not too happy, not too bad. That was pretty smooth as far as some of these guys. I didn't really get too hung up anywhere searching for the last thing, so mission complete on that one. And we can go back to Atlas Park and level up and Atlas Park. Let me contact the contact. Yeah. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna head off here after I finish leveling up. You are more than welcome to come to our Discord channel, say hi. I hang out there quite often. I'm going to be doing some things this afternoon. When I get done with all of them, then I will come back. And we'll stream again tonight, if the Lord is willing, and I don't have a heart attack or something along the way. Hey, Joe, how are you doing? Well, City of Villains is part of this as well. I'm usually playing villains and whatnot. And this is why I'm leaving Excelsior, by the way. I don't like all of this, you know, crowded stuff on the screen. So, yeah, we are definitely moving away from Excelsior when this is all said and done. I've already got 10 of my characters off Excelsior onto Torchbearer. So, yeah, it's definitely coming. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're trying to, like, buy and sell stuff and all this noise and all these extra sound effects. I don't really need this one. I'm just trying to, like, decompress after that run. Oh, level 27. I got to get her into IOs now, so I'll do that someplace else where it's much more quiet. But yeah, I got to get this character into IOs next. So she's making some good progress. She's become an IO character. Only a small select few make it to IO. Yeah. Yeah, Flipster, that's why I'm going to Torchbearer. It's kind of like the almighty mute everything button, so I can have my peace when I'm in Atlas Park or Ouroboros. Alright guys, well thank you so much for watching the stream this morning. Like I said, I'll be back later tonight after I do all of my afternoon stuff and whatnot. And keep me updated on any progress you guys make on your characters. Share it with us in our Discord server. We love hearing the stories and whatnot. We'd love to hear from you. And everything else. Joe, I hope you'll join us on Discord or join me for a stream later tonight or tomorrow night. I'll probably be streaming. So hopefully we see you again. I hate for you to just join and then I leave, but I've been streaming for like over 3 hours, so I have to get some things done because it's Sunday, but I'll be back later tonight if the Lord's willing. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Joe, Flipster, Raid Shadow. Appreciate anybody else who's watching, and I'll be back later. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, may God bless you.